Hey, what's up, my little TisaTellss? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are the Kardashians, it looks like listen, does the emperor have no clothes on? What am I talking about? The Kardashians are always bragging about how they're billionaires. And don't get me wrong, they definitely are 100 millionaires. At least we thought. Because new information is coming out about Kim settling her lawsuit, which leads us to believe, why are you guys always not paying your employees or underpaying them? Is there any money? And also, it's just come out that Kylie, Khloe, and Kris all have huge mortgages on their properties, despite being millionaires, billionaires, whatever you want to call it. Y'all, let's get into this. First of all, let's talk about the way Kim was forced to settle her lawsuit for for the maids, right? If you guys don't know, I'll bring you guys a little bit up to speed. Kim wasn't paying no one. Her gardeners, her housekeeper, all these people were suing her, saying that not only were they the worst spouse, but they did not pay. Kim tried to fight, tried to despair, tried to deflect. She ended up having to settle. Let me tell y'all something. I think that this is a win. I think that it's settled in the people's favor. Kim and the Kardashians are known to be vindictive. They're also known to be very litigious. What does that mean? Being very litigious when you got a money is letting people know in your mind a very aggressive strategy. What does that do? That makes people feel like, okay, so maybe they didn't pay me my wages, but they fight everything tooth and nail, and they have more money than me for lawyers. So you know what? I'm just going to let this go because at the end of the day, I don't think I have enough money to fight them. It is a legal strategy. I'm not saying it's a smart strategy, but it is a legal strategy that the Kardashians decided that they wanted to employ. Now, why is that so surprising? Because for one, it leads to it. Why are you being sued so much for stealing from people? We remember the SKKN. She had a very Merry Christmas because it looks like they settled for big bucks. But also when it comes to unpaid wages, housekeeping, all this stuff. Kim, you are supposed to be a billionaire. Now, there's either one or two things going on. You actually don't have the cash flow you say you do. And a lot of your cash flow was actually coming from Kanye. That could be, because think about it. Kanye really didn't start having money problems until Kim and her mom took over his finances. Think about it. I'm being dead serious. What does that mean? Kanye always spent too much. He was always lavish. But when Kanye and Kim were together, Kanye was the one spending all his money and Kim was saving all hers. Now, I'm not saying that that was a bad thing to do. Kanye was obviously down with it. There's no victims, but it gives you a little bit more insight into exactly how much money is around if you are not paying your gardeners and housekeepers. Now, the former housekeeping staff sued her, and Kim tried to do PR, slander, all this stuff. The only thing is that she didn't count on was the housekeeper wasn't looking for fame. The housekeepers were actually very low key. They ended up calling it off a week before going to trial and saying, fine, we'll settle with you, right? They've entered into settlement negotiations. Since, in my opinion, this can only be a win for the housekeepers. But again, right? The house staff said they were not provided proper meal breaks, were not giving pay stubs, and were not reimbursed for certain expenses. That means that they were being paid under the table. It does not escape my attention that the last name is Ramirez. There's all these implications too, but like I said with Kim, I'm not going to get into it, but it does not escape my attention that they are preying on people that they already think are in a vulnerable situation. They're also saying that Kim had child labor where he was allowed to work at the mansion while underage. Kim originally tried to say, oh my God, that wasn't me. I didn't know that until they showed proof. We did know. And when we complained to you that we were being exploited, you ended up firing us. Again, when I first heard this, I said it can only be two things. One, Kim is just a mean, horrible person, which could be true. Or two, you don't have as much cash flow as you say you do have. And when Kanye's not around, you don't want to spend your own money on anything. Again, there is something going on with their cash flow. Is it enough to deprive the poorest, most vulnerable workers on your staff? Absolutely not. Now, get this though, and this is the interesting thing. Kim's family has borrowed $1.32 million in home loans to fund their property empire, despite being billionaires. Shout out to Sherry. Thank you, Sherry Couture, for sending me this. My girl Sherry is always right on time. She said that They may be one of the richest family in the world, but the reality stars have taken out massive home loans on their mega mansions, about 132 million. They've stacked their luxury properties with huge amounts of borrowing. Now, this is weird because for people that are supposed to be billionaires, 132 million is nothing. The fact that they have such huge loan debt, mortgages, usually signals to lenders, and we don't know if it's true, that they're living above their means, that they are leveraging whatever their income is to the whole. And the reason they want so much mortgage is because they're not putting a down payment. Now, some people can argue, oh my God, that's smart. You don't just pay cash for everything. Nobody's actually saying they pay cash, but the more money you put down on a mortgage, the lower your mortgage interest rate is, especially in these times when the mortgage interest rate is so high. When you couple that with the fact of whatever money they put in, they will get out on the back end as equity, it leads you to believe what is going on. They literally, Kim took out a 48 million mortgage on a $7 million mansion she bought in September, and she's using that 48 million to undergo renovations. Kourtney, Kylie, and Kendall have also had huge mortgages. They quietly borrowed about $132 million, almost $133 million, right? Finally showed that Kris paid for her most recent $20 million home outright. So Kris is good. Kris is good, but the same can't be said for the house she bought in 2010 for $4 million, which she has a long-term fixed mortgage on. Again, Kris, that gets money from all the kids' business ventures, actually did what most people did. She paid cash outright. Also, if you pay cash outright, the owners give you a much lower rate, and you do that to be competitive on the market. Again, there's so many loans on this, it calls into question. Now, I will say this, right? And I do have to be serious. We know from Forbes, and we know from everything guesstimating the Kardashians' empire, that they don't have as much money as they say they were. I did raise an eyebrow when they decided to come out with another season of the Kardashians. A lot of people are like, oh my God, that's smart business. They play in chess, not checkers. And I was like, no, they're playing checkers because it comes a certain point, especially when you are a billionaire, that you do not need to make appearances anymore on a reality TV show. You do not need to actually show your face for anything. You do not need it. So what's the problem with that? What is the problem with that? It's basically like you working a job and making $500,000 a year and then showing up to sell hot dogs on the street where you maybe make $5 in profit each day. Why would you do that? Especially when you can tell from the new season of the Kardashians that Kim and them hate it. Kim hates having to be on reality TV. She feels like it cheapens her. She feels like it says, Kourtney's been over it. But that's one thing about Kourtney. She's never tried to front like she's a billionaire or even 100 millionaire. Kourtney has always been like, I'm comfortable and I have enough to raise my kids, and that's all I need. Okay. So what else is this? Hold on, guys. What else? So what else could be going on? Let's actually think about this. Could it be that the reason they are always hustling, the reason they do still keep Instagram promotions, the same way they will take $1 no matter what, is the fact that they actually need it to fund their lifestyle? And part of this mystique is of like the old school, where you always overestimate your worth so other people will think you're worth more money, so then they'll invest in you more. Let's not forget that Kris Jenner is that old type of PR publicist. Anyway, y'all, listen, I'm doing some more digging on this. I think I have a theory, but I'm going to have to flesh it out a little bit more. But all I can say is, like, yeah, there's something very deep going on. And this explains why they're so desperate to keep that reality TV empire afloat. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.